What up, YouTube? You already know. Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou NFZR2, baby. And if it's the first time you're coming to the channel, it'd be highly appreciated if you sub, like, and share the channel with your family, friends, folks, peoples, gente, comrades, camaradas, associates, asocios, amigos, panas, buddies, pals, and feel free to comment. I respond back to all the comments. The live I did earlier today, before you know it, 3 hours went by, and I had mentioned I hadn't been sleeping well. I got a couple hours of sleep. I feel a lot better. I needed that. I haven't been able to sleep at all, too well at all, for the past week and a half or so, and it's catching up to me. So I finally got a little rest between the live and now, which has been about 6-7 hours. So I got a couple. I slept about 3 hours, at least 3 hours. Feel a lot better. Anyways, I changed up the little routine today, man, because like I had mentioned earlier, I only watched the first game of the season against the Chargers, the LA Chargers, and that was during the time I was sick, where I was in bed for over 2 weeks, sick, right? I got up still feeling like shit, and I went to watch the game. I watched the beginning of the game. I watched the first half of the game. I watched the whole entire third quarter of the game. And about 3 or 4 minutes into the fourth quarter, I had it. It was the same old shit. I was already telling myself the freaking season's going to be the same way, like always, except this time we're going to start off bad. Usually we go good, 5-2, 6-3, and everybody's saying, are the Raiders for reals? On the sports shows, and then, of course, they're, depending who it is, Keyshawn Johnson. Yeah, I believe so. Different people say different things. This time we're starting off, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5, and then we went 2-5, and then 2-6, then 2-7, and then now we're 3-7, right? Well, we got a win today, so we got 2 wins against the Broncos this year, and we beat the Texans, right? But we lost to the Chargers, and we lost to the Chiefs, and we lost to the Saints, and we lost to the Jacksonville, and we lost to the Colts, and it's just, oh man, right? So I hadn't watched another game until Texan game. Halftime, I was about ready to turn it off. I was seeing the same crap, and then this guy right here, the jersey I got on, he had that game against the Texans the week before that, and the week before that, I believe he had some badass games. He had 2 games in a row that were like nobody was running the ball as good as him for those 2 weeks. Then in the second half of the Texan game, he took off again and he did his thing, and he's had some good ass games. It seems like he was the only thing working for the Raiders, right? And some of the defensive guys, Crosby, you know what I mean? So we pick up the win today. It wasn't looking good. We were down 10-0. Then I checked again where it was 10-7 because I was doing the live. So I was checking while I was doing the live, and then it was 10-0, and 10-0, then 10-7, and then it was I think it was 13-10, and then 16-13, and then that's when we won 22-16, right? So we got the W. So, like I was telling somebody, this hat right here was brand new. I only wore it one time before today, and this jersey I wore it twice. It's a Nike jersey. It's a Nike. It's the Raiders Nike. See the Nike right there? It's a Josh Jacobs. You don't see many of these. You know what I'm saying? You don't see many of these at all. So I came to get me a coffee, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do a video right now on the Raiders. So just because I'm not gonna lie, people, I'm ready to give up, right? I'm ready to give up. Let's go here. Denver. Derek Carr stepped up in the crunch time after Russell Wilson shunned the slide that would have made his counterparts' heroics so much harder. So I think what happened there was Russell Wilson tried to keep it in bounds, and he screwed up on the slide, and he ended up going out of bounds, so it stopped the clock and it helped him out. Carr hit a wide open Devontae Adams with a 35-yard touchdown pass on the third play of overtime, powering the Vegas Raiders to a 22-16 win over the Broncos on Sunday. So we beat them twice this year so far, right? I've always loved those moments That's what I've dreamed as a kid of, right? That's what Derek Carr said after leading the Raiders to a 3-7 victory, to their first win in 7 one-score games this season. That's another thing. Every game we lost has been by like 7, 8 or less. You know what I'm saying? Because that's considered one score. Actually, no, 7. It would be 7 or less because the 2-point conversion is considered a score too. I would believe. I believe so. The Broncos 3-7, 3-7 found another way to lose a close one, dropping their 6 one-score game when Wilson left too much time on the clock at the end of the regulation. Denver was clinging to a 16-13 lead at 2-minute warning when Wilson rolled right on 3rd and 10 from his own 34, and instead of sliding to burn more time, he pulled up and tried and fired out of bounds. So that stopped the clock. So that fucking, that hurt him, right? We called a pass play to basically try to end the game right there. Wilson said, we get a first down, the game's over. They covered it pretty good. I was trying to get outside the pocket, and then Jalen Virgil was scrambling down. I thought I had him, tried to take a shot at him, and the ball just kind of went away. But we've got the best defense in the world, and unfortunately it didn't work out this time. Wilson's misfire stopped the clock, and the Raiders, who didn't have any timeouts left and hadn't led all afternoon, got the ball back with 1:43 left instead of about a minute, right? Carr drove them 71 yards, hitting running back Josh Jacobs for 43 yards to the Denver 7 to set up a Daniel Carlson game-tying kick with 16 seconds left in regulation. The Raiders won the overtime coin toss, and Brandon McManus kicked it to the 5-yard line instead of booting it to the end zone, the back of the end zone, and Abdullah returned it 28 yards to the 33, right? After Jacobs lost a yard, Carr hit tight end Foster Moreau for 33 yards over the middle to the Denver 35. From there, Adams confused the Denver defense and was all alone for the game winner. It was which gave him 141 yards and 2 TDs on 7 catches. Carr finished 23 of 37 for 307 yards. Learn from this game and learn from my mistakes. Broncos cornerback Pat Surtain II said after getting turned around on the final play and also giving up a 31-yard TD to Adams in the regulation play. McManus' 48-yard field goal put the Broncos ahead 16-13 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and Denver's defense forced the Raiders to go a 3-and-out. But Wilson couldn't burn enough time off the clock before the Raiders got the ball back. In battle first-year Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett relinquished offensive play calling duties to Clint Kubiak, his quarterback coach, and passing game coordinator, saying, I want to do whatever I can to help this team. The move paid off immediately when the Broncos scored a touchdown on their opening drive from the first time under Wilson, whose 32-yard TD to Kendall Hinton set up Latavius Murray's 1-yard TD run, a former Raider. After that, the game settled into the grinded-out defensive affair expected of two teams that have been riddled by injuries and ineffective offensive play. Everyone's sick to their stomach and week in and week out. Broncos linebacker Alex Singleton said after the Broncos blew another early lead, this time 10-0. We know what we've got to do, and we've got to find a way. Max Crosby came up huge, right, in the final seconds of the first half, preventing a touchdown and then a field goal as the Raiders turned back the Broncos and kept their deficit to 10-7 at half. Crosby punched the ball. Hold on. My writing is fucking. Crosby punched the ball, right? He punched the ball out of fumble-prone running back Melvin Gordon's arms at the one. Although guard Quentin Merners recovered at the Denver 7, he recovered the ball at the Denver 7, but Crosby blocked McManus' 25-yard field goal try at the end of the first when And he blocked the field goal try at the first half expires. That was Crosby's third career blocked field goal, and all three have been against the Broncos. He had two against Denver on January 3rd, 2021. If you don't block that field goal, then we have to score a touchdown at the end of regulation. So I thought it was an enormous play. Raiders coach Josh McDaniels said, I thought it definitely gave us a little bit of a boost there. Crosby had 2 sacks in the second half, giving him 9 of Las Vegas's 14 sacks. In the first quarter, Carlson's 48-yard try sailed wide right for his first missed field goal since November 7th, 2021. So a whole year and a little bit against the Giants in the Meadowlands. So look, here's a little bit background on the Raiders and Broncos. This is both teams were established in 1960. They've been rivals since, right? The all-time series is the Raiders are leading with 70 wins and 54 losses. So the Raiders got 70 wins, the Broncos got 54 wins, and there's 2 draws, right? In the postseason, they've only played each other twice. That's a tie, 1-1. They played January 1st, 1978. The Broncos won 2017. And in 1994, the Raiders won 42-24. The largest victories, the Raiders in 1962 beat the Broncos 44-7. The Broncos beat the Raiders 44-7, excuse me, and the Raiders beat them 51-0 in 1967. The largest win streak, the Broncos 8-game winning streak from 2011 to 2015, and the Raiders had a 14-game winning streak on the Broncos from 1965 to 1971. Also, in the last 10 years, it's tied up 10-10. In the last 10 years. So from October 23rd, 2012 till October 23rd, 2022, they're 10-10, but now we just got to win, so we'd be right? Yeah, cuz today's we're in November, so we'd be up 11-10 now. This was an old statistic. Um let's see. Oh yeah, hold on. There was something else I was going to read. Let me find it that I wrote. Let me see where I can find it at where I wrote it down. The dynamic duel after the hookup in the overtime game, the Raiders, their 6th straight win over Denver for the first time since 92 through 94. Carr and Adams ran off the field together. It felt amazing, Adams said. I did save Derek a little bit. He almost pulled us into the wrong tunnel. He was a little excited. Well, I guess I would be a little excited too after crying and all that up there. And it's got to get frustrating. If I get frustrated and not even a player and I'm a, so-called fan, which I'm not. I don't consider myself a fan. I consider myself a Raider. As frustrating as I get, just imagine how the quarterback and the guy who leads the team and your all Pro Bowler Devontae Adams, who many consider the best wide receiver in the game. You know what I mean? Adams has 3 overtime touchdowns, tied with LaDainian Tomlinson for the most in NFL history. And Tomlinson hasn't played in years. At least 10, 12 years? So, when it comes to it's frustrating because here they make moves in the offseason. They bring Josh McDaniels. Oh, he knows how to win. He comes from New England, man. They come from a system of winning and da da da. But then people failed to realize that he had a shot with Denver, and he didn't do. He wasn't good. It's one of them things. People call Joe Biden that Joe Biden was a good vice president, but he's not a good president. Or George W. Bush the father, George H.W. Bush the father, he was a good vice president, but not a good president. That type of shit. So, they say that like Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan was a hell of a defensive coach, probably one of the greatest, but head coach sucks as a head coach. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them things, It's one of them things. It's one of them things. And, he started bringing all his staff. He started bringing ex New England players. You know what I mean? So everybody was pumped up. I'm not gonna lie, I was too a little bit until I started researching a little bit more about the guy. But even up until the start of the season, I still was a little pumped up. And even after losing the first couple games, I still was like, okay, then they go out and sign Chandler Jones, and it's like, oh yeah, we needed that. Crosby on one end, Chandler Jones on the other end. You're talking about a guy who has well over 100 sacks. Where's he been? He's there. He's got some tackles, but he ain't pressuring the ball. I mean, he ain't really that much on the ball. You know what I'm saying? Max Crosby, on the other hand, I mean, I know he's a lot younger, but he plays through every play. You know, like how they say, a guy swings through every pitch, and you run out first no matter what, and you're always hustling, like how Pete Rose got the name Charlie Hustle. That's Max Crosby. You know what I'm saying? He's always hustling. A lot of times you'll see them run, a pass play out the backfield, or a run play, and he'll come from behind and be in on the tackle. He might not be the main one on the tackle, but he's in on the tackle. But Chandler Jones, they get rid of Ignagwe, who I understand he wanted a bigger contract, but he was an up-and-comer youngster, man. Then he goes to the Colts, and, he's having a decent season. Meanwhile, this guy got paid a lot of money, and where's he at? It just sucks. It just sucks when it comes to that. Then Abrams, another youngster, Abrams, another youngster that sometimes plays too hard and ends up getting injured a lot, or he gets stupid penalties. They shit can him, they cut him. The offensive end, you got Dwight Waller, Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends in the football. You know what I mean? And they give him an extension, $51 million extension, and he hasn't even fucking played. Pretty much he hasn't even played. And then Renthro, $32 million extension. Same thing with him, injuries and shit. We were supposed to have the the best, if not one of the top 3 or 4 best trios of receivers. Even though Waller's a tight end, he still has had 1,000-yard years. And he can do his thing. Um, but unfortunately, no. And Jacobs been playing his ass off. Josh Jacobs, hats off to Josh Jacobs. He been playing his ass off. Carr. A lot of people are ready to step away from Carr. I'll admit, me too. But then when I thought about it, he's been playing with the Raiders 9 seasons, and he's had 6 head coaches. And how many freaking offensive coordinators has he had? You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep in mind the man's constantly learning new systems. You think all the coaches have the same playbook, the same offensive schemes, and no, he's got to learn everything. The quarterback's the leader; he has to learn everything, all the pass plays names, the formations, all the everything, all the tight end plays, all the wide receiver plays, the fullbacks, everything. He's got to know every freaking thing. Not to mention have his eyes open to try to read the defense and tell who to watch on the line. You know what I'm saying? That might be trying to blitz. It's not, and he's put up great numbers. 48,000 passing yards, 49,000 passing yards. He's got, like, the last couple of years over 4,000. His TD numbers ain't that. He's only had 1 year where he had over 30 touchdown passes. He tied Daryl LaMonica. I think it's 32 he had in 2015. 2015 he had 32. I think it was 32. He tied Daryl LaMonica for the most touchdown passes in a season by a Raider, right? And he protects the ball normally, but it seemed he started out not protecting the ball and making idiotic mistakes, you know. Um, but you know what I mean. It is what it is. As you guys can see, I'm still sporting my shit. A lot of times when we lose, I end up taking stuff off before I even make it out of the house because I was in the house watching the game. But I'm just being me, man. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating. People that really ain't about it. Like I said, I'm not a fan. I'm a Raider. It's a way of life. So, like, people that don't get it, that they'll wear Raider stuff to a basketball game, or they'll wear Raider stuff to a football game, baseball game, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll wear a Raider hat with the Oakland A's, or they'll wear a football hat, Raider hat with the baseball team or basketball team, and let alone not even the teams that are from the same city. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of people that they don't really get it. They don't understand the frustration when somebody like me says, "Oh, fuck them, man. I'm sick of this shit." They don't get it. But it is what it is. So with that being said, YouTube, Big Lou's gonna tap on out. Uh, as usual, I appreciate each and everybody that's watches these videos. I'm still grinding. You know what I mean? Gaining little subs here and there. Um, you know what I mean? Be sure to catch Harvey. Harvey and Harvey Talks Prison should be coming back on Wednesday. And finishing up our little interaction we had from 2 Thursdays back. We're going to speak about the Walls, which is a legendary old prison from Missouri that's now closed down. It has that Alcatraz type feeling, Alcatraz type look, um, and also speak about his transition back into society after 3 decades of being away. He said it felt like he was dropped off outer space. So we want to touch on some of that and how he transitioned and what helped him and what, you know, and what kind of obstacles did he encounter, as far as, did he start getting anxiety? Did things were overwhelming? Yada yada. Them type of things. So be sure to catch that. And I'm gonna be doing some collabing with some other channels as well. Shout out to Chepe Sea Dog. He came on earlier today on the live. Um, Shout out to Sticks, Stay Awake TV. Shout out to Rick, Vegas Profiles. Shout out to Big Weavy from Weavy's World. Shout out to Frank from Frank's Vibes. Shout out to Gangish. I forgot what his channel's called now. It's a different name. Um, Shout out to La Puffy Gin. Shout out to Wendy. Shout out to Bigfoot, Wesley Mitchell, New Age Plug, um, iTalk, Latin Pain, Paradigm Media, Commons Perspective, Gunners Collective, Gunners Profiles, Rojo Room, everybody. Big Lou tapping out. Good night. Oh, tomorrow, back to work. I wish everybody a positive, productive, and blessed beginning to a new work week. Gone.